Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. In this episode, we're going to take a look at Meadows with the Downstream expansion rolled in. I realized that I did not cover this a long time ago when I bought the original game. So this is a perfect time for me to give you an idea of how this game plays from a solo perspective, demonstrate a little bit of it, and then let you decide if this is something you're looking for. Let's get started. Okay, folks, as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, thank you so much for that support. I appreciate it. So this game extends so wide into the table, it's really hard for me to give everybody a look at what's going on here while I'm playing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you that this, in fact, is kind of the major tableau that comes with the main game right here. And this is where you're choosing all the different cards that are coming up, okay? And then from the solo standpoint, you reach into, well, a discard pile, but I threw it into this bag here. And you're going to be grabbing these, that's a bad example, these tiles here. And depending on the color, based on how you set up this little key here, depends on which side it's going to go. And then the number points to the one that the solo player, Rover, I think it's a dog or something, is just basically going to put in a pile. Now, in the base game, you actually score this pile for points. In the game with the Meadow, you don't score the pile for points. You just compare it to the end game winning conditions as far as how you did. And that's because it doesn't really have a way to score points in this river as you do. So you kind of have a little bit of a leg up on the solo. You could probably spot it one way or another. Now, I'm not exactly sure how you do that, but there's some way to probably do that. But in essence, it's a beat your score with a victory condition. And when I played the base game over and over again with the AI, I found it was kind of challenging to beat the AI itself. So either way, however you want to play it, you can make a little house rule. So now that I've said that, I'm going to kind of adjust the camera so you can see a little bit deeper into it and you won't see all of the cards here. And this is just to demonstrate what's going on. So basically what's happening in this game is you have a hand of cards. And in every turn, almost every turn, you're going to play one of those cards to your tableau here. And the way the card works is it needs, in order to play the card, you have to be able to meet the conditions of everything that is written over here. Well, come on, focus. I don't know what's going on. Everything that's written in that little spot. Well, we're really challenged today. There we go. All that stuff below the bird, okay? When you're able to play that down, you play it on one of those icons. You have to have the other ones present. And then it reveals this icon for you to have in your tableau. And you either get points. Sorry for the sniffles here. You either get points or you get to move up on the track over here in the river by the number of arrows or chevrons, or I want to look at that, on these canoe oars. At the end of the game, the most points, obviously, you're trying to get the most points to win. Now, the way you select the cards is through these different tokens here. And the different tokens have different values, 1 through 4. And they also have a question mark. And then there's this token here, which is new with the Downstream expansion, which lets you specifically point at a column in this Downstream to pick a card. These other ones, they let you choose the second card in the row that you're pointing at, or any card in the row that you're pointing at. This bottom area is, if you put it around the campfire, it will let you do some other different types of actions that usually involve choosing cards or playing 2 cards or getting some of these little path tiles. And these path tiles are necessary because they're one of the requirements for some of these scenic tiles that you may want to play. There's a couple more rules. Number 1, you can only have as many as 10 different piles out at once. And pretty much that's it. I've already talked to you about the fact that the icons have to be displayed in your area in order for you to play a card. You have to play it on top of one of the icons or a stack that has the icon. For instance, maybe you need one that shows a water. You could play it on this card right here because it is a water, and that whole stack kind of relates to that. Okay, so what does it feel like when you're playing? Well, the solo player always goes first, so he's basically going to draw one of these. Okay, I got a purple one. It's a purple 4. So on my little solo 8, it says put it right here. And then I'm going to discard the 4th card and immediately replace it. I don't think you guys can see that, but I'll do it again here as we go. So basically the solo draws or denies you cards. That's what it's basically doing in this whole game. And sometimes it will deny you spots over here for these bonus actions. A couple other things that can happen, and this is mostly with the river expansion. When you cross certain points, and by the way, this river is double-sided. I'm playing on the lazy river side, but there is a different side where it's like the whitewater, rapid water, wild side, and it changes out a couple things. You don't have these beaver cards, but you have more bonus style actions and some different stuff. So there's a little variety there too. But the farther you go down this thing, the more points you'll get at the end if you cross some of these spaces. And then there's detours here that give you special actions that you might want to take. And there's also these things where if at the end of your turn, when you look at your tableau, if you show the 2 icons that are on those areas, you can play one of these things as a bonus action, and then you can put down one of your bonus tiles. You want to put the 4 obviously first because that's worth the most points, but you can basically score extra bonus points for putting them down in this area. I'm pretty sure you can put the highest one down first. This side of this allows for the 3, and so for instance, I had a situation, and it's gone now because sometimes they can move up. But when you cross a certain spot, if you have those conditions available, like if I have this triangle and I could get a fish here somehow, if I had that available, then I could put this down and score 3 points. Okay, so there's other ways to score like that too. So anyway, on my turn, I'm going to choose one of these. And speaking of the fish, I do want that ability, so I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to take this fish card, and then I'm actually going to play the fish card so that I have a fish and a landscape. Okay, so remember, you take a card, you play a card if it's what it says on there, and all the top ones do. And so that means I move 1 more spot right there. Now I have a choice. I could skip and keep going like this, or I'm going to go through the shortcut. I want to go through the shortcut so I can play the 3. So we're going to draw again for the AI. It is a 3 red. So that means I put it on the 3rd spot here, and I draw the 3rd card and deny that card, and I deal out 1 from the south. Okay? So looking at the different options, and basically what the game comes down to is you have a ton of options to consider because each of these cards have a bunch of requirements. And the requirements move all the time. So you're trying to figure out, can I chain these things together? Do I want to gather some cards for like a future chain, or can I get it going right now? It's generally a very pleasant game to play. It's beautiful, beautiful artwork. Probably one of the nicest looking games that I have. Very abstract, even though that the icons make a ton of sense. Obviously, for instance, like a lily pad would need to grow in kind of a very watery area. The theme of it is you're kind of like on this nature hike, and you're taking pictures and finding little trinkets and discovering little things. And I mean, it's a fine theme for what you're really doing, which is sort of this. It's not really a set collection as it is kind of a tableau builder with no engine. There's not an engine here. It's just about trying to get the points that you can, and get these things to stack up and build in such a way that makes sense. And this mechanic of choosing cards is pretty fun too. Using these little tiles. So looking again, I'd like to be able to play this card right here, and it needs a fish, a grub, and a tree. All right. Well, good news. I've got a grub here. I've got a fish there, but I don't have a tree. So in order to get a tree, I need to put down this card, which has a tree on it. All right, well, that's great, but then that would cover up some other cards that I have, so I got to be careful of how I do it. But before, I got to play one of these. And probably the best thing for me to play, because I have a lot of cards, I don't have a lot of points. I've been really focusing on this canoe situation, but I need to get some other points in some other ways. This fence card says I can play it next to a fish card, but that's not going to help me. This one is nice. It's 2 points. It's a landscape. This one is 2 points, and you can play it on top of a landscape. Let's just do that. All right, so we're going to grab this card right here. We'll put the 1 over there, pull this out. Now, I'm not going to play that card just yet because I really want to get, this condition accomplished so that I can bury this thing. Instead, like I said, I'm going to play this tree card here and put it down like so, and that moves me 2 more spots. 1, 2. So now that I'm in this spot right here, I have the condition of a fish and the triangle. I can put this out and score 3 points at the end of the game. So there we go. We're in good shape. And that's kind of how it flows. Very nice game to play. Lots to consider because you have the changing board all the time. It's a very tactical game. This Meadow expansion does add a little bit more of a strategic element because you have some choices to make that are independent of what the cards will be. In the fact that, do I want to like swing wide, or do I want to go this way, or do I want to try to get more specific actions, etc. There's just some more things versus the original game, which is just solely based on this and this little campfire mechanic over here, where you're just trying to put down the 3, the 4, and the 5, and also can play some of these little extra bonus games. But a very pleasant game to play, and the solo is, I think, just as satisfying because you're not. This is somewhat of an independent game. Although when you're playing with other people, they're denying you cards. You're getting denied cards based on the solo player as well. So it has that very similar feel to it, regardless of which way you play. So I'll just finish up the round here so you can kind of see a little more. The things I'm trying to consider now that I've got that taken care of is it would be nice to get this card out and continue down the river. But I really need to start focusing on points because even though I've done such a great job with this river situation, I've only got 2 points starting off here. So I'd like to find a way to get a butterfly if possible. So are there any butterflies out here? There is. There's a butterfly here. Well, how do I get to this card? Luckily, I have a 2, so I can point my 2 on the other side here. I know you can't see it. And I can grab this card right from there, which is good. That will help me get my butterfly icon. Then playing a card here, I do want to put down this bird card. It will cover up the fish. And no, yes, because I have the grub, I have the fish, and I have the tree. I can play the bird icon, and I can move now 3 more spaces. 1, 2, 3, and when I cross here, I get a free path tile. So that's going to help me build more of these path adventure cards. So you can kind of see how it goes. Very, very easy to execute. Now this is a 1 red, so he can't play here because I just took that spot. So when that happens, you just move to the next spot. Very simple. Take the card, deny. Simple, simple, simple. Now let's say you do draw the question mark. The question mark will do this. So first of all, if you do that and there is a spot here, you will put that into this area back here and block I should say the AI will block you from using some of these special spaces. If they're all full, you'll draw one of these cards and it will put it over here and take one of these cards out of the river area and just deny you that card as well. Okay, so I've got 3 more turns here. Let's see. I've already set up my chain to be able to go butterfly and then critter or whatever you want to say. So what would be nice is if I could get my hands on some kind of fence. That way I would be able to play this over here. There is a fence. It needs to be next to, okay, so this, I could do this. So I've got the 4. I could place on the opposite side and come all the way around and get this 4 fence area. And then with this fence, it actually says I play it next to a fish card. Oh crap, I covered up my fish card. Well, I guess I get to hold on to that. Oh, all right. Well, I'll hold on to this for later. But what I can do right now is this says if I have a bird, a beetle, and I play it next to a house, which I can get a fence and a bird. So I play it right there. That was the other card I had. So now I have the bird and the fence. So basically I have this condition right here, a tree and one of those. So I'm almost 100% sure you have to play the card to get the bonus there. Pretty sure that's how you have to do it. But regardless, it's once you have that condition, yeah, it says goal fulfilled by players marked with tokens, etc., etc. Placing a path on the bench, goals. Campfire board, the neighborhood creates pairs. If you have a symbol of the pair in the event where you can claim it between the pair of yours, you may only claim it after placing a path token on the notched campfire board. Yes. So you want to take the bonus before or after taking special action. So basically, I have to have a spot over there. And so what'll happen is I'll demonstrate how that'll work right now. So here we go. We'll draw this 2. And it's a yellow, so it goes here. Denies me this card right here. Now, I want to play this one, which is the question mark, which allows me to do any bonus action. Because I've got a couple of things to do, and I think the best thing to do would be to do the one that lets me play 2 cards. So I'm going to put that right there. And I take the 4, and I put that right over here. I might as well take a quick look. I don't want to lead you astray, folks, to make sure in order. Bummer. 2, 3, and 4. So it's got to start with a 2. I kind of figured that would be the way it would go. 2, 3, and 4. So the 2 goes down first because I've met that condition. Now I'm going to use the bonus action that lets me play 2 cards from my hand. So this one I'm going to play right here. And that's the butterfly. And this one, I'm going to play right on top of it. So that's a 5-point move plus 2 there. That's 7. So that's the kind of things you're hoping to line up where you can really make some hay. And then I have one more turn after this guy does his. So purple 1. All right. And then me on the 3. So this could either go to draw 3 cards from a deck of my choice and choose one and bury the other 2, or put it down to choose from the 3 here. Unfortunately, the only way to get these cards is through your question mark or through this, so it is a little bit more limited. Now that would give me 2 points on that. That's not too exciting. This one also 2 points, more of a beetle situation. I want to get a bird, like a flying bird, like a soaring bird, because that's necessary for these. And I don't see any of them up there. So generally the decks have a type of card that's more prevalent. These are kind of a mixture. The East deck is usually like the bottom stuff that you've got. And then the West deck was going to be more based on these path cards. The North will replace the South deck and be more of a mature mixture of cards, higher points, needing they're like kind of finisher cards, and that comes out right at the end of this round when I finish this up. So there's a tree. Do I have a double tree anywhere? No, I don't. Maybe the best thing to do will be to play this one for its bonus action. And I'll draw 3 cards out of here, choose one. Put there 2 on the bottom. So the 3 cards I'm going to draw, this is a bird. Oh, here's the soaring bird. Perfect. So this is what I want right here. That will help me, if you can see that. So that's what I'm looking for. And I'm going to go ahead and bury these bottom 2. Okay. So when the round is over, and there are 6 rounds in the solo game, you cross over. Sometimes you cross over the waterfall, which is something for the Meadow expansion. And you basically just take those out, put new ones in to help with the card churn. When you cross over this timer, the sand timer, you'll do the same thing over here. You're going to pull all these cards off, but you're going to replace, like I said, the South deck with the West, or with the North deck. So basically, you just clear this, and it refreshes the cards in full. And that's really the game, folks. So let me tell you what I think about it. So Meadow is a very relaxing, fun to play, lots to consider solo experience, in my opinion. It does not do anything magical that's never been done before. The choosing of the cards while pointing at one place and taking a card has been done in different mechanics of games over the years. But I really like it. I think it's a lot of fun. First of all, there's 2 things. Number 1, it's a beautiful game. I like looking at the artwork. I like stringing things together. And I enjoy the relaxed pace of the game. I also think that there's plenty to think about. What is the best thing to do is not completely obvious, because there's so many things that chain together. In order to set yourself up, you're going to have to think ahead a few turns and say, okay, I'm going to try to get this, I'm going to try to get this. And that way, then maybe if I can get these types of cards, I can fulfill those goals, or I can get some bigger point cards to go. So it's not just a game where you're just kind of doing things that are obvious or just floundering around and get a decent score. You really have to, in order to score well and make the conditions, you really have to think about that chain. Otherwise, you're just going to have a bunch of cards out here worth low points and not do very well. And that's why I think it succeeds, because it isn't, while the mechanics are fairly simple and straightforward, it is not a game with obvious choices. You have to look ahead a few turns and then juggle all that up here. Some people might not like that if they want something that's a little bit more packaged, I'd say, quantized, like I'll do this turn, then we'll figure out what I'm going to do next turn. I'll do this turn, then we'll figure out what I'm going to do next turn. This one requires you to kind of channel your strategy or your tactics into different lanes and be on the lookout for things that satisfy those lanes. And maybe the easiest way for you to do that is kind of group your cards in your hand in such a way that will allow you to do that simply, or at least keep yourself organized. So I really enjoy it. I don't think that there's anything here in this game that's going to be like when someone plays it, they say, that is a mechanic I've never experienced. This is amazing. I don't think you're going to get that. What you are going to get is a nice, satisfying experience. It takes about 45 minutes or so to play. That is a beautiful game to look at. That's fun to do, especially with, the morning cup of coffee or the evening beverage, or just something to kind of wind down the day or, kind of ease into it, so to speak. I really like this one. Now, you could say, well, is it worth getting the Downstream expansion? Is it just more of the same? I actually think that the Downstream expansion with the dual boards breathes some good life into this game. Not that there wasn't enough to do, but it adds enough so it's not just a completely tactical experience every time. You do have some strategy, you have some things to think about, and what am I going to focus on? How much of my effort am I going to put into the river? Which way am I going to go, pardon me? And what does it make sense? And every time I do something in the river, I'm kind of in essence, not scoring points on the cards for my other chains. So this is going to need to add up. And yes, the river is worth some points as you go down it for sure. But you got to balance that a little bit. So I like that. I would say it's an easy situation to try before you buy the base game, before jumping into the expansion. There's plenty of fun to be able to be had in the base game for several games, for multiple games, and if you really like it, the expansion, I think, is a no-brainer. I don't think it's going to overwhelm anybody. There's more cards to choose from, but after you've played the base a few times, I think it's a welcomed addition. So that's what I think about it. I am interested to see what your thoughts are. And if you like this sort of game, I hope this was helpful. If you're looking for something a little bit different, a little bit more novel, that's a new twist on mechanics or different spin on things, Meadow's probably not going to provide that for you. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate everybody. And whatever you decide to play in the future, I hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.